Diaphragmatic breathing, or belly breath, 3-part breath, all the same. And why do we want a diaphragmatic breath? Well, breathing fully and properly requires our diaphragm to move in order for lungs to fill completely so that we can oxygenate our body and blood most efficiently. And it's that big diaphragmatic breath that will start to shift our physiology when we find ourselves triggered, activated, in trouble in any way, anxious and stressed. So many of us, almost all of us, have our diaphragm kind of locked in one place and it barely moves because most of us don't breathe properly and don't take full breaths. Most of us don't fully exhale. That's the part of the breath that most people skimp on. If you start to notice just any time during the day, observing your breath, you'll see that you start a new inhale before you fully exhaled. Fully exhaling means it's going to take some actual intentional squeezing of the ribs in towards each other, of the navel back towards the spine, to really get to the bottom where there is nothing left. And I'll keep on talking until there's really nothing left, and you keep squeezing, keep squeezing, keep squeezing until there's no air. We very rarely do that kind of full exhale. And usually if our diaphragm is kind of locked in place and we haven't taken a full breath in a while because we're really anxious and stressed, starting with the exhale is the best way to reset the whole breath. So if we're like, walking around like this, really anxious, tightness in the chest, that fluttering, tightness in the throat, stopping and exhaling, that big squeeze, exhaling through the nose. Keep squeezing the ribs in towards each other, navel back towards the spine until there's nothing left. And then relax the belly muscles completely. There's a vacuum effect that the respiratory diaphragm creates. So when you have that big squeeze, it's up in this position, we're squeezing everything out. As soon as we relax this contraction, the diaphragm pushes down and air gets sucked into the lungs without much effort at all. So we want to use that to our advantage to reset our breath. And that kind of breath, after a really complete exhale, will feel like the deepest breath you've had all day. You can leave your eyes open or close them, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm going to close mine. Give a little squeeze between your shoulder blades so the chest opens up, and then let the shoulders rest down away from the ears. If you're sitting, push your sits bones, your seat, down into the chair, like you're pushing it away, and you'll feel the ribs lift up away from the hips. If you happen to be standing, push your feet down into the ground and feel yourself get a little taller. Soften your jaw. Let the teeth separate, the upper jaw from the lower jaw. Now let's bring our awareness to our torso. What we usually forget to do is exhale all the way out. So let's start with that so we can start with a full inhale after that. So we'll squeeze our ribs in towards each other. So the right and left side coming in towards each other. And then think of your belly button or your navel coming back towards your spine. And then the very lowest part of your belly drawing back towards your spine. Squeezing out all the air. Then we just relax all those muscles, let them go completely, and let the lungs pull in air. So let's try that again. Squeeze the ribs in towards each other, pushing the air out. It's coming out through the nose, drawing the navel back towards the spine, drawing the lowest belly back, part of your belly back towards the spine. Squeeze, and then let it all go, relax. And a big inhale happens, air coming in through the nose. So let's keep going through that cycle as I give you a few more cues. So on your inhales, you're really thinking about opening up 360 degrees around, belly, the back side of your rib cage. We have more lung tissue on our backside, so the ribs are spreading front and back. And then the chest lifts at the very end as we're full like a balloon on our inhale. And then think of deflating that balloon. We're squeezing in, contracting everything, ribs, belly, everything in around the spine to squeeze out the full exhale. We can't squeeze anymore, there's no air left, then we just relax. There's a vacuum effect that happens in the diaphragm. When we relax all these muscles, it pulls down and it pulls the air into the lungs on its own, so you don't even have to work at it. But what is key is having that full exhale first. That's the only way that vacuum effect is going to work. So try that again, thinking about fully exhaling. Everything is through the nose, the lips are closed. Squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And you'll actually feel your muscles in your core heat up because they're really working to fully exhale. And we totally relax. Feeling full and wide and relaxed as we bring the air in. Let's do a couple more of those. And if you do feel comfortable closing your eyes, I encourage you to, just because it reduces the number of distractions we have. So you can really feel this shift from contraction to full relaxation. Our exhale isn't a passive thing. In order to really exhale all that stale air out, we have to work. We have to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then we get that beautiful feeling of the air rushing in when we totally relax. And it might feel like the biggest breath you've taken all day. Let's do a few more, and this time think of ourselves as a glass of water. So we're filling from the bottom to top, just as if water was dropping to the bottom of the glass first. So on our inhales, we think of the belly opening up first, then the ribs spread. As we fill up, the back ribs spread, then the chest lifts at the very end, all the way up to our collarbones. We have lung tissue up there. So we fill from bottom to top. Then we've got our big squeeze, ribs, navel, lowest part of the belly. Finish this next exhale. Relax and inhale. And open your eyes if they were closed. One other thing to notice as you continue to practice this, because this isn't easy right off the bat, but I promise you it'll get easier, is to notice if the shoulders are lifting. That is really common, because most of us don't do this diaphragmatic breath on our own, and we just breathe up here, and the diaphragm stays locked in place, not allowing us to take a full breath. So when we're holding tension here and holding our belly in, locking our diaphragm in place, not allowing it to move, we try to create more space up here to take a full inhale, so it looks more like, and we lift the shoulders up, trying to create more space. And this actually leads to neck and shoulder tension. It's a huge cause of neck and shoulder tension. We all know many people with that. So if we start to relax the belly, start to get the diaphragm moving, this doesn't need to move at all. Now we're breathing fully, more relaxed, anxiety lessens, and we relieve the neck and shoulder tension. So as you continue to practice this, notice if that's moving. And please keep practicing. It'll get easier, I promise.